So my name is Amine. I work for the RisingSUD Economic Development Agency, which is the economic development agency of south of France. And I'll be sharing with you a few elements on how the region handled its aftercare strategy. And of course, we will do a small focus on how this aftercare strategy is done for foreign companies. So I just wanted to share with you a few slides. So the aftercare strategy in Région Sud Provence Alpes Côte d'Azur. So the first thing is why is aftercare really a strategic subject for the South region? We all know today that that there is a lot of competition between countries for attracting foreign investment, and only support an incoming flow of projects is no longer enough. We need more upstream action. This is on the one hand. On the second hand, we have to optimize our resources, and as we know, there will be a drop in the FDI, and we need to adapt to this new situation that requires agility and reactivity to attract foreign investors. So, of course, the COVID-19 crisis reinforced those needs, and the roadmap and the objective that were settled are the following. We are bringing up as soon as possible the weakness identified in the local ecosystem. We need to identify reinvestment projects in foreign-owned subsidiaries in the territory. We need to identify job-creating businesses on our territory. We need to define a new and a better targeted prospecting strategy abroad. And we need to strengthen our local coordination for fast-track processing of authorization, among others. We have started this aftercare strategy in South region thanks to an approach that was called the REBOUND TOGETHER approach. Basically, it's an interview process that was done for important number of companies on the South region. Those interviews were done by RisingSUD, so the agency I work for, but also with our partners, the clusters based on South region, and of course the French tech. We've made over 350 interviews of regional companies, both domestic companies and foreign companies, and the results of those interviews have the purpose to help to build the regional recovery plan. We had also two other objectives for these interviews and for this aftercare that was done to build an answer to the COVID-19 crisis. The first one was to bring support mission for companies, and the second one was to a consultation mission for the region's recovery plan, as I said just before. That was done by assessing the impact of the crisis and identifying the support needed for Dunning, for relaunch, to help companies to relaunch themselves. I've put you here a few extracts of the interviews we had, and as you can see, the problem faced by the companies, the feelings they had regarding the COVID-19 crisis are a bit different. Of course, we had companies that faced really strong difficulties, giving the example that the bills weren't paid anymore by large groups, for examples, that companies have, of course, cash flow difficulties in terms of management of debt, of payment of social security, etc. But other companies that we interviewed, and that's why the aftercare is interesting, it's because it allowed us to identify opportunities. So we had companies that saw the crisis as an opportunity to define buyout, companies that want to continue the current support for this investment project, others that want to increase their recruitment of sales representative in Europe, in Italy, in Germany. So of course, on the one hand, you have companies that are facing very strong difficulties, very strong drawbacks, and on the other hand, you have others that see opportunities, and that's why Aftercare is interesting, is because it allows you to identify opportunities. If we do a small focus on the foreign companies that we interview, it's interesting to do so because the problems are not quite the same as the domestic companies. So among the 350 companies we've interviewed 20 foreign companies, 10 international companies, and 10 German companies. Why German? Because Germany is a strategic destination for the region, as it is, depending on the year, the second or third foreign investor in South region. We interviewed companies such as Sartorius Stedim, SAP, CleanPark, Ineos. Ineos is a very good example of why Aftercare can make you see extension or opportunities of businesses already settled in the region, because Ineos decided during the crisis to build a new plant very quickly, a hand sanitizer production in 10 days that will produce up to 1 million bottles per month. So that was really interesting. Among others, this interview process of foreign companies showed us that these companies have really a large support of their headquarters and did not ask neither for public incentive or partial unemployment. So they felt themselves pretty backed by their headquarters. And this confidence they have in the future on the ability of their headquarters to support them allowed us to have really strong, deep discussions about potential reinvestment projects in the South region. So that's why it was really interesting for us. So of course, as an agency. As an agency and as the responsible of the economic development for the South region, of course, we are going to continue to build this aftercare strategy in order to foster regional attractiveness. It is the real strong main objective for us for doing an aftercare strategy is to capture extension projects on domestic projects and international ones. So the roadmap for the following months is first to continue the aftercare strategy as we have done it so far, to continue to keep contact with our companies settled in the South region in order to identify opportunities. We want to fine-tune this strategy in terms of targeted company, in terms of potential, so to have kind of a short list of the most promising companies that could allow us to capture extension projects. And finally, we're going to develop a sort of influence strategy. We are going to try to meet European headquarters, decision centers, try to organize B2B meetings with executives in order to assess how we could attract extension projects on the South region. So that's more or less what I wanted to share with you today. And if you have any question, I'm of course available to answer them.